Train the muscles, not the joints. Welcome back to Natural Land Bodybuilding Mountain. And today I'm going to give you an update. So some of you guys have been following my Netflix drama. Basically, a show on Netflix stole or borrowed or took a clip from my YouTube channel and used it without my permission in their stuff. So if you want to know all the details around that, just watch Netflix Stole My Content, that video. And this is part two. So part two here. So following my discovery of my content being stolen or taken, or whatever word you want to use. It's funny how words work, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes people can interpret them wrong. Sometimes people can put their own interpretations upon words, and I'll get to this. So the professionally offended people, they seem to do this quite a bit just to make sure that they're victims when somebody else is actually the victim. But I'll get into it. Just give me a second here. So basically, as soon as I discovered that my content was being used by a show on Netflix, what I did was I sent off a complaint to the copyright department of Netflix, and I contacted various people and so forth, and I'm still in talks with that as well. But what happened was eventually, about a week and a half, somebody did contact me through email and asked if they could call me. So I sent them my contact info, and sure enough, I received a phone call just today. So let's call this person Karen. She claimed to be some sort of associate producer of some sort on the show. Maybe somebody that's more like a production assistant or something, I have no idea. But basically she said that all of the stuff they used falls under fair use and copyright law and so forth. And I said to her, well, based on the experts that I've talked to and the people that are in law, they disagree, and so do I. So I said to her, this is not necessarily good for my brand and not necessarily what I want. Somebody just coming onto my channel and taking my content and using it for profit anytime they wish. So I feel that is unfair, and it's basically like theft. It's really stealing. So she said, well, what can we do to make this better? You know, what can we do? And I said, well, I don't know, what can you do? And she says, well, we'll offer you $1,000. That's what she said. We'll offer you $1,000 to compensate for this. So I said to her, well, let me say this. Because I know some of you guys are like, oh, $1,000, that's decent because it was only a 1-second clip. That's decent, why don't you take it? Well, the fact is that if I have to spend the time to find people who steal my stuff to give me less than the legitimate amount that I normally would have agreed upon for them to use my clip, then this is going to be an extra job for me. And I understand that this does happen, but at the same time, by accepting such a low amount of money, I'm basically saying, hey, it's okay, and if I catch you, then you got to pay me. That's kind of like somebody saying, well, if you catch me breaking into your house or stealing money out of your bank account, then I'll pay it back to you, but I'll only give you pennies on the dollar, right? So I just went into a litigation process with her and just said that this is not agreeable to her, and she kept on telling me over and over again, well, it's just 1 second. It's just 1 second. It's just 1 second. So if it's just 1 second, then that's okay. Even if it's criminal or even if it's wrong, doesn't really matter. It's just 1 second. So of course, this is where the trigger alert came. So of course, this is when I said to her, well, if a crime is committed, a crime is committed. It doesn't matter whether it's 1 second or 5 seconds. And I went forward because she kept on cutting me off and kept on saying, oh no, it's just 1 second, who cares, And so I finally said, well, okay, so you're saying to me that if somebody is sexually assaulted, I used a different word, but if somebody's sexually assaulted, but it's only for 1 second, it didn't happen and it doesn't matter? Like the crime wasn't perpetuated because of time? So let me be straight. Let me be very, very clear, because I understand there's trigger people. People always looking for ways to be triggered. Let me be very clear about this. I don't believe that anyone should be assaulted, whether it's for 1 second, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever, right? I believe that it is wrong, but to say that because somebody is assaulted for 1 second instead of 5, it should be ignored, I think that's wrong. So basically, I'm standing up for a lot of liberal people. I'm standing up for the people who have been assaulted or who have been violated in some way, shape, or form. So that's my point. But my main point of talking about this was her saying that the time justified the means. So just because it was 1 second, then she can do whatever she wants, or the production company can do whatever they want, and that justifies the crime. Like, it's okay. Oh, son left me again. So basically she's saying, just because it's only a 1 second clip, so the crime only happened for this amount of time, then it justifies them being able to do it, or to just take it and I have no case and who cares, right? So anyway, as soon as I said, that's like you comparing, somebody being assaulted or some other crime happening to them for 1 second, and then you saying it doesn't matter just because it's 1 second, she started to go off. She just totally went Karen on me. She was like, oh, I can't believe you're comparing assault to this. And I'm like, I'm not comparing assault to that. I'm comparing the time. And you're saying because something happens for a period of time that somehow it is not legitimate, or that it is somehow less serious because only a certain amount of time was stolen from me, you know, in the form of a clip, right? So anyway, this is when she went all Karen on me because she basically said, you're comparing this assault to this over here, to this type of theft, and saying it's the same thing. So first of all, I wasn't comparing the two things. First of all, yeah, violation or assault of another human being, yeah, way worse than a lot of other things like, say, copyright law, whatever. Okay, one could argue that, and I agree, that's fine. But what I was arguing was the time. Her basically being fixated on time, meaning that my claim was illegitimate, that just because it was 1 second, that means it's illegitimate. So they're allowed to steal from me whatever they want. As long as they do it in minute amounts, then it's not a big deal. So based on her definition, they could steal 1,000 1-second clips from me, no problem, because they're only 1 second at a time. Based on her definition, somebody could go in my bank account and steal $1, but because it's just $1, it doesn't matter. It's not really a crime, it's not theft. So somebody could come to me and steal $1, or 1 million people could come to me and steal $1 from my bank account, and it's not a crime just because it's only $1, right? So she's talking about amount, and then she's talking about time. So basically I was trying to say that, listen, the way you're saying that something didn't happen just because it was a 1 second period of time, and I'm saying, yes, it still happened, and it still is relevant. Time has no dominion in this case. So anyway, at that point she hung up on me because she was just too triggered. And she even said, I'm so triggered right now, I can't even believe that you would compare these two things. And then she just hung up. So extremely professional, that's what I'm gonna say. She was extremely professional. She chose to be triggered by something. And maybe she's a part of the snowflake generation, I have no idea. But she chose to be triggered by something instead of actually look at the common sense of what I was saying. I was comparing time and whether a crime takes place or not, regardless of how fast that crime takes place, it's still a crime. It's still punishable. It is still a problem. It's still an offense. And she's saying, oh, because it's, you know, I shot somebody, but because it only took 1 second, then it's not a crime. Well, you know what? That's not really relevant, right? So anyway, that's where I am with the thing right now. So I'm in the middle of talking to some people and contacting some people as well to take this further. But yeah, that's where it's at right now. So a producer of a Netflix show getting triggered just because they chose to misinterpret my metaphor and project their own issue on it. And yeah, that's my story. That's the professionalism you deal with some of these independent filmmakers. Mountain. So anyway, yeah, there you go. Now you know the info. I'll talk to you soon, and I'll have a video up on some training pretty quick. Mountain.